my name is Jordan Lewis. Welcome to the first episode of our second season for the ReEvolve Media Revolution Podcast, where we interview hip-hop artists from across Canada and talk about their music and journey through it. This episode features BrimLow. So sometimes I like to think of people as collections of ideas, and whichever ideas that they hold closest to them become their core identities. An important thing to mention when it comes to ideas is how magnetic they can be. If someone shares a similar idea with you and you resonate with them, you naturally become closer. If someone has ideas that oppose yours, you reverse polarity and distance and tension is created. What often goes overlooked, though, is what happens when we are formulating opinions and don't have a concrete understanding of the ideas and thoughts that are thrown at us. In this instance, we're often susceptible to ideas that others have, especially when they are very confident or set into their identities. The entire planet seems to be at a moral tug of war when it comes to the ideas that make up individual identities. Understanding these concepts and knowing that they are simply human nature has shown me how terrifying the world can be, but more so how vital it is to hold on to the things that we know are good and positive, and to share those ideas endlessly. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Riley. He goes by BrimLow. He's born in Toronto, currently residing in Surrey, BC. How you doing, BrimLow?
What up, buddy? I'm
What
doing
up,
pretty
bro?
good, man. Just waking up, chilling.
Yeah, my guy. Let's dig into your music here. Actually, when did you really start with music? It seems like in 2016, I've got you dropping a couple tracks on SoundCloud. I've even got it listed at when one of your first drops. You say you started at a party, and that's what kind of got you inspired. But let's hear it from the source.
I wouldn't say that's the inspiration. I didn't start in 2016 either, but that was my first drop on like major music platforms and shit like that. I've actually been making music since I was like 13, so I've
No
been
way.
doing it for over 10 years technically.
Like creating recorded projects?
Yeah, but I
Wow.
haven't actually been recording my vocal for that entire time, and it hasn't always been good either back in the day when I was just getting started and shit. By the way, can I curse on here?
Yeah, dude, do whatever you want. No censorship at all.
Tight. Okay. You're sure about that?
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Go off.
All right, dope. Anyway, where was I? So
At 13 years old, you started, you
yeah.
weren't really recording.
So when I was 13, me and my buddy, we wanted to start making beats and rapping and shit. And we went half. We like got a bunch of money together and shit. And we went half. We bought like a basic setup. We started making beats and recording and shit. And
What's included in like a basic setup? Just like a mic, and did you guys get a keyboard or a MIDI?
we had a keyboard. What we got was we got like a laptop. We got a mic interface and all that. Just the basic
Oh,
stuff. I
damn.
don't
Yeah,
even remember what program we were even using on the laptop, man. It was so long ago.
back
But
then. Yeah, I'd assume like Fruity Loops or I don't know, Audacity or something old. Was GarageBand around then back then?
yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was something that a couple people that I knew were using. It was cool for like basic stuff, but I moved on to eventually now I'm using like Logic Pro, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of people are using like Pro Tools and whatnot, but no. Yeah. And then basically from that point, just basically making, easy things. I wasn't satisfied with how they were coming out and all that. So a bunch of shit went down in my life that led me to the point of uh, just having a lot of stories and shit to tell. So I ended up putting a lot of music together, putting a lot of music actually out, started recording my vocal and writing my story and who I am as an artist and all that kind of shit. And then over the years, just getting more serious about that. And like, I think at this point I have 2 albums out, and I have a few singles, and I think I have 3 music videos. But I didn't actually start putting out music for at least 5 years into making music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, anyway, that's the basic story of like in terms of me getting my hands on equipment and how I started actually making music. And what I do now, I've evolved over the years to the point where what I make now is not even doesn't even resemble the original approach I was taking, but I think it's all for the better, you know.
For sure. And I'm curious about your approach as well, just because you're talking about how you collected all these stories and you just had a lot of music to write relating to these stories. I'm sensing a touch of like duality. Is there sort of like a character that you've created who you're kind of personifying through your music, or are these all kind of like cold cut your stories?
Uh, I would say that it is 100% based on my life and my experience. I think that as any artist, you know, things are told in a way that's going to be uh, readable, like receivable, and like of course everybody's got to flex on a track, man.
For sure,
So
for
you
sure.
know, it's not that rappers don't artists don't talk shit, but it's that like it's all coming from real life. Yeah, I would say that. And I think that a lot of people are out there writing things in the first person that aren't necessarily reflecting who they are these days. You know what I mean? And like, I don't
It's
have any
completely
problem with that
fabricated. Yeah.
actually as an artist. I think that sometimes you have to take the initiative you have to take to get the product that you want. And I can respect people that do that. But I don't think that's not the way I think you could describe what I do.
For sure, man. All right, all right. Well, let's kick it to actual examples. In 2017, you released a six-track project titled "That Hooligan." Yeah. In that year, you
I
also
did,
released.
I did, I
Yeah.
did.
How do you feel about that project? Because it almost seems like you had tried to remove it.
uh yeah, I that's an interesting thing. And I've definitely played that project down after the Soft Side album came out. And
Yeah.
the main reason for that is that when I put out That Hooligan, I was trying to be loud. And
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like I still like those songs. I still like everything I did, but I think that the ultimate style and approach I'm taking now outshines that. So I would like to make that my headline. Do you know what I mean? Like if you
Yeah,
go
for sure.
looking for my music, I would prefer that you found one of my last two albums, and I prefer that you listen through that kind of content. But That Hooligan, if you want to go back into my history, man, like I've also got the BrimLow EP, and I did an album before that I don't even remember what it was called, but I would
Yeah.
have to go looking back for it because it was just not worth remembering to me. You know, you just go through a lot of
Interesting.
things as an artist that
Yeah.
you have to do because here's the thing, like, okay, so these two questions kind of go together, right? Because of the fact that what I do is inspired by how I'm really feeling and how I'm really reacting in my life. The
Yeah.
fact is that you go from one thing to the next, and once you get to the next, you don't want what that old expression to necessarily take away from the new experience, but the old experience, if someone connects to that, that's good. If you want to look deep enough for that, like if people want to go back and find the music that I had just put out, you know, to like a small group of people when I was just starting to create, and if you want to go back that far, yeah, sure, I would encourage that. But the um the thing is that I feel like I've toned it down a bit. Like I remember when I wrote tracks like Hoodlum, and like I actually still like that track. You know, I
That's a
actually
badass
do
track.
listen
Yeah.
to that track even just myself because I think it goes hard and shit.
Yeah.
But the thing is that now when I approach how I do what I do, it's just more sophisticated in my opinion. So I'd
Okay.
rather people catch on to the new shit.
That's fair. So essentially, you had an entire, like a very viable perspective change. Was that kind of like, did you like consciously do that, or did you just become aware of it and you're like, all right, my style is completely different now? Or were you like, okay, my style has to be different? Does that make sense?
Uh
More or less, was it like a conscious decision that you made to like, all right, I'm gonna be perceived from this perspective instead of what it was before, or did it just happen naturally and you had to be made aware of it?
Um, w- I think that it's a conscious decision. I feel like in some ways, right? Because I'm always working on me and trying to be better at what I do and who I am and how I do it. So because of that fact, yeah, it's a conscious effort to make some of the changes in my life that then get reflected into the music. But I feel like the sound of what I'm making is just a byproduct of everything, so that I don't feel like I have control over the inspiration that I put into the tracks, for example.
Okay.
But like once I see that evolution and the way that I'm approaching it and doing it, it's changing in a way that I like better, because what I'm making these days is like, if I had to describe it, I would say that it's a lot more effective in expressing how I'm really experiencing shit. Do you know what I
I
mean?
see. Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely more. It expresses your core identity, your true identity, a bit more.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, like you said, effectively.
Like when I wrote, for example, because you're going back to that hooligan, right? The EP.
Yeah, we're all the way in 2017 right now. So
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is too, I wrote and recorded that way before 2017, right? That
oh,
was
I
just
don't doubt it.
when
Yeah,
I put it out, right?
for
So
sure, for
the
sure.
thing is that's a few years ago. But anyway, when I wrote like I Ain't Shit, for example,
That's what I was gonna reference that one.
yeah, for
Because
sure.
you did a music video for it too.
I did. Have you seen it?
I did, yeah.
That's tight, dude.
I dug it, man. I thought it was cool that you took the artistic approach of putting out full on music videos, and they're high quality videos, man.
Thank you.
You got the dancers in, couple drinks. You
Yeah.
got you got like a flow to them too. It's sick, man. Especially early on in your releases. And I know you're saying you had experience releasing stuff beforehand. I just couldn't find it, but I thought it was dope.
Mhm.
But yeah, on the I ain't shit.
Yeah. So, like, for example, when I wrote I Ain't Shit, I was just like in a place in my life where I feel like I felt like hopelessly angry. And like there were definitely times at that point in my life where I straight up just didn't give a fuck. And
Bro, you say it in the lyrics. One of the ones that jumped out at me, which is ironic that I say that, is I just got jumped. I don't even give a shit.
yeah.
Like is that like a real lyric?
Yeah, man. Like, I think that actually, you know what? That brings me to a funny point, because I
Let's
just feel
hear
like
it.
that's a thing that I don't respect, actually, is when people who haven't experienced that violence and they want to talk about it in their music and they want to emulate that. It's those type of people that will speak on it inaccurately, in my
For
opinion.
sure.
And they do things, and I feel like they kind of intentionally glorify some shit that they couldn't handle, and I don't really respect that. If you want to talk about violence, yeah, I think that it should be out of some kind of experience or trauma, because that's really what the music is about, in my opinion, is getting out that kind of shit. And like I don't even talk about that as much as I could, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Just
Well,
to be
it
honest,
might
like,
be affecting subconsciously. Who knows?
oh, for sure, man. And
Right.
like the way that those elements of my life have just come up, and things have happened, and that's kind of what, when I wrote I Ain't Shit, it's funny you'd ask about that lyric, because when I wrote that, shit was so much more crazy than that in reality, right?
I don't doubt it, man. See, here I was thinking, sorry to interrupt there, by the way. I was thinking that this song was like a comic jab and that you were actually kind of like above it. But here you are telling me that it was actually worse than it claimed to be.
At that time just embodying things from my younger point, and
Okay.
and the place that it had, that violence and shit had escalated in my life, to the point of when I put that hooligan out, had been way worse.
Oh,
I'm
I
not saying
see.
that I'm not saying that the inspiration wasn't like, so what I'm saying is I took it back to a basic example. Like, I just got jumped. I don't even give a shit. You know what I mean?
Got
And
you.
that was just a basic way to not, I mean, you can't explain the depth of something currently in your life in one bar. That was an
For sure, for
understatement
sure.
in terms of how I felt in the things that me and a lot of people in close my close circle and shit have been a part of. Yeah. I don't know.
Damn.
That's kind of fucked up. I guess that kind of comes into the music at times. And that's what I'm saying is that a lot of that reckless shit was in that hooligan. So now I'm speaking with a lot more of a calculated mind in my music now. So I
Gotcha.
would rather that you pay attention to my conscious thought
I
rather
see what
than
you're
the music
saying.
that I made when I was fucking angry and though I was in a anyway. I'm just
I think
saying
I see
that
what you're
you
saying,
get
man.
you get where I'm coming from.
It's kind of the same subject matter, but with more wisdom to it, as well as experience in the craft.
Say that one more time.
Oh, I was gonna say it's the same like subject matter. It's coming from the same place, but with more wisdom to it in how it's delivered.
Yeah, and I'm exactly right. I've gained perspective, and to be honest, like as things have escalated, and I've been a witness to the way that has played out in the future of the context of what I was writing about, and how I still write about that, but I write about that in a way that I communicate what I'm actually saying a lot more effectively in terms of like my experience, but also B, like I'm not trying to glorify the wrong thing or just put out the wrong energy about a situation. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to be a
Yeah,
lot more positive in my life at this point. And I've definitely really had to do a lot of like different things at different points in my life where I seriously consider what's going on and what the fuck I'm going to do about it. And that's definitely changed the path and the position that I'm in right now. So
interesting.
yeah,
So
me and my route to providing positivity in the world is a big part of actually my inspiration with just creating anything at this point.
for sure. When you say you had to like kind of stop and think about things, or it came to that point, to that I'm guessing that happened more often in between that transition where you're saying you were coming from this angry perspective and now you're coming from an entirely different perspective. Is that right?
Yeah, so basically
I'm wondering what kind of like changes you had to make, or like what if there was like a main thing, or if like there was like some key things. You know what I mean? Which I'm sure there
yeah,
is.
okay,
It's
so
peppered throughout your music for sure, and I guess that comes in 2018 where you put out your 14 track "Welcome to the Soft Side," and you do talk a lot about it
yeah.
from a completely different perspective than that hooligan was.
Totally. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So basically, there was a lot of different points where I had to make a lot of different decisions and in my life. And so like some of those things have been around like getting high and like using drugs and just whatever, partying and whatever, right? And then
Your
another
early
part has
2018
been
songs, bro, full of or "Smile Full of Smoke," "40 in the Bathroom," "Elevator." It's kind of exemplified there, isn't it?
yeah, and it's a like a lifestyle and just all the different things that go into that in terms of um I don't know if it's a common part of people and normal. I don't know if it's part of normal people's experience or if it's I don't know if it is a Surrey thing or whatever, but like I feel like being in certain situations it's like you have to look at it, and unfortunately sometimes you have to analyze more than just what you're doing but who you're with and why you're doing those things and what they're doing and how that aligns with who you can be in your potential.
For
And
sure.
so to me, the hardest cuts have been around people and like who I can allow around me on a regular basis and just any routine. Like, some people will bring different energies into your life, and that just attracts different things, right? That ultimately you have to make all the cuts at a
For
point.
sure.
And so that's the thing, is that through my different albums actually is almost a good example of how through every stage of that evolution and those cuts you see different things going into the music. So one second.
Yeah, for sure, man.
My bad, I just fucking smoked a bowl and my throat is hella dry.
Oh, no worries, dude. We're gonna take a couple minutes break in a second once you finish
Yeah,
this
it's all
off,
good.
but yeah,
So you can actually see in the transition between my different projects how um every evolution of those situations and the cuts I had to make go into the music, because basically, the first thing I had to make a big decision on at a young age was how much I was going to continue with my lifestyle of just being affiliated with drugs, crime, violence,
For sure.
negative shit.
My question
And
on that, to interrupt you there, sorry, is you said you're wondering if it's a Surrey thing, but I'm wondering like where did these people come from? Is it like the local scene or is it like from school?
I feel like it's just connections that you make. Yeah, man. Like I don't know that everybody from my communities
Yeah.
like experience things the same way that I did, but I just feel like it's a natural gravitation of like the energy you're
Got
putting
you.
out
Yeah,
and the people that you're meeting and what you're gravitating towards
for
and
sure.
what kind of energy you're allowing in your life and why though. Right. Because, for example, like at a young age, I had a hard time. It wasn't as if I just went to school and that was what I had to focus on. You know what I
For
mean?
sure. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
some kids in my environment, I'm sure that's how it was. But people like me, you know, I'm not always been like a common person. And so when you look at me, you know, there's been a point in my life where I was an easy target for a lot of different negativity that people wanted to put out.
For sure.
And I had to find a way to react to that. So at a point, I didn't choose that. But then I did emulate that in return. I didn't have to rise to that level and become the person. You know what I mean? Like, I feel
Yeah.
like I was put in a position where it was like, you're either going to grow to a point where you can react or
Or you're just gonna keep recycling that bad energy out.
just, man, I don't even know. I feel like because when people bring violence to you, what do you do?
You react violently.
Yeah, or what? I don't even know the other option because I didn't consider it at the
For
time.
sure.
Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean? So it's
yeah.
like I actually genuinely still don't really know the answer to that.
Ooh,
Like, but I've just changed my environment to the point where I don't have to deal with that element because I've created protection for myself. That's kind of a privilege of how I've gone about things in the position I've been able to put myself in, right? But
for sure.
you got to do that. You got to do everything in your power to execute your vision in life, right? So that's what I feel like I've done by bringing myself into a safer and like more uh just healthy environment, healthy way of being, healthy way of seeing the world. You know, it's not easy to go from a point of being just fucking literally needing to do substances to go about daily life and being so angry and just reckless. And it's not easy to go from being that to being like a healthy, constructive person who picks people up and supports the community and does that kind of shit. So, like, yeah, man. I think that there's been many transitions, and if it's cutting off the drugs, if it's cutting off the people, if it's cutting off the habits and shit, then that's what goes into the music. That's what a lot of the tracks are inspired by, as a matter of fact.
For sure, man. I got one question before we take a quick intermission here.
Word.
Where so this perspective that you're coming from, that before the shift, that kind of embodied a lot of anger and just negativity and got you in all that trouble. You were saying you're kind of attracting the bullshit your way. Was there kind of like a point where that started, or had it kind of always been that way?
In terms of what? The
In
violence?
terms in terms of, yeah, the violence and just like being like, was that like from like a young age, or was that from like as early as you can remember that shit just was
No.
not ideal?
No. No. When I was a young kid, I remember things being different in a way because the things that I had to go through were different. And as my family went through things ourselves, and it changed the way we interacted, and it changed who was in my life, and you go into different environments. I was not always an angry person. When I was a young kid, I was just a creative little happy kid. That's how everybody described me as a child. But then, you know, around the point of going into high school and different things happening in the family, like, you know, I come from a broken home and everything like that. So at a young age, you see things and behaviors that you emulate, which does become negative, right? When you see negative things in your life like that. And then it changes you in a way. And if you're not conscious in how that energy is affecting you, it's going to take you in a negative way. So those things started to affect me. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it wasn't always like that. No. And then it just, at that point though, when you lose control over a negative emotion like that, and you start to then be treated even worse, right? Because I was a different kid for sure. Like,
you
I'll
get
say that.
identified in that role.
Yeah, for sure. And then people just kind of point you out as a target.
Exactly.
And so I had to deal with a lot of shit. I've had people approach me, try to hurt me, never even met me, you know?
Damn,
And that's just how it is. And I've seen my friends stabbed, you know? I've seen us get our ass kicked by the cops and shit. Like, I don't know if that's everybody's experience, but that changes you. And if you're not conscious about what's happening and how you're reacting to it, then it's going to take you in a negative way. I wasn't always like that. So that's the answer to your question. No, I don't think it was always like that. That was a change.
Fuck, that's wild, man.
And I'm like coming back. I'm like coming back to my true self as I become more safe and shit and just like healthy, right, in my life.
I love that, man. But hey, listen, we'll take that quick break and we'll get back to it in a moment, all right?
Cool.
Beauty. We're going to take a quick listen to BrimLow's track Slow Down featuring Ace.
They've been asking since day one, Riley, why you always like this? I'm just trying to tell them what's left, then I'm snapping on them with the right fist. Chainsaw when it's crunch time, hockey sticking out with skate lines. On the mic I'm ripping heads off, I don't right wrongs, let me write rhymes. Always watching when I like this, I was wrong but we the right kids. I was taking things, trying to sell a dream, they was reading my right shit. Anger in me that's frightening, snapping on them like lightning. Selling out the window, playing that Nintendo, ducking these indictments. Pull us over, yo, peel out. Didn't even have a license. Savage click and we heavy drinking. My brain was always in crisis. I wish that I had a message for kids, but I can't make up for the shit that I did. Want to move past it, I'm trying to live. Cause they never will. Like my great granny with Jews in the attic. Cops at the door and I'm starting to panic. Bro, I can manage. Yes, I am a savage, trying to make up for the cards I was dealt. I'll take a shot while you wait for the cubes to melt. Slow down, no need to slow down. Creeping, I'm swerving, slow down. Yes, I slow down. Just so not come. Kids, I walk through the fire, feel my desire. I'm writing these verses with gasoline lighters. Whoa, now I'm lifted. You should know that I'm gifted, and I know I can. I'ma say I can. Day one they was doubting, I don't give a damn. Sipping out a can till I'm face down, bust up and I kicked it. I was just born different. You could say that I'm kinda special. I was not quite one thing, so they say it's seeming like I'm kinda lesser. Stupid people never learn a lesson. Golden bottle that was in my dresser. I just think I felt a ton of pressure, cause I'm trying to live up to see my full potential. You don't wanna see me pissed off, coming at you like lift off. I'm the breaker, leave you switched off, and you ain't killing nothing like this, picking up weight like a rig, son. Feeling like shit, this a big one. I'm turned up, I'm switched on, ain't no telling what this kid's done. Who is I? I'm insane. Scars still bleed blood stains. Flashbacks on old days. Getting top now, when the top down. Button stomp down and I won't change what I don't remember. On my own I don't see no contenders. Standing still I leave you broken benders. I'm taking shots at you a goaltender. Have me get drained, you better send it. Speaking my mind, so fuck who's offended. I rip up the beat, tools I'm inventive. Whip on the scene, I body you ready. Never get by me, I'm way too attentive. Watching the throne, don't need an incentive. Don't even know what you came into. Swerving, slow. Just kick the fuck all y'all. Slow. We come right at you. Yes, I'm slow. I'm slow.
What's up, everyone? And I'm back with BrimLow. BrimLow, how you doing, homie?
What up, buddy?
What up?
I'm doing good. What about you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Sitting low.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, actually, in your music video since we're past it, in couple drinks in, your two dancers, your homies there. How'd you scoop those guys?
Well, Ace, who's the male
Ace.
dancer, right?
Yeah.
I've done actually a couple things with him. So I know him from back in the day, and we didn't really know each other well, back in the day.
For sure.
But I remember that for whatever reason, we just started connecting about music because he's always been a creative person, and so have I. And I just remember at a point we just started like sending projects back and forth for some reason, and like we had talked, like we were cool, but like we just didn't know each other super well back in the day. But anyway, as we got older, right, we started throwing projects back and forth and meeting and like going over music and like just talking shit and like kind of being bros and whatnot. And he's always been into dancing, and so like I've gotten him on like tracks, for example, recording audio, because
I had
he's
no idea.
yeah, okay, I didn't. So I'll explain that then too, right? Because he's got an amazing vocal, and he's also an artist himself. He records. He's an actor. He records.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? He does a range of things, dances and whatever, right? So
he's in your other music video too for Slow Down as a feature, right? Am I wrong there? Slow Down featuring Ace?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. I didn't put the two together. Okay, beauty.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense that you wouldn't, right? Because you'd have to look into the detailed credits to see that he was like the name of the dancer, and then also in these other projects and whatnot. Like, yeah, no. But he was the dancer. Yeah, that's funny. I guess that's kind of like a foreshadow.
A little bit,
See him in the video, and then it's like, oh man, he's actually he's in like the main track off of Welcome to the South Side too. Yeah, so he's the vocal in that track. Actually, if you hear it at the end, he has an amazing voice, man. Like he's very talented in terms of like writing, recording anyway. So working with him has been dope. And that the couple drinks in, that's how I got in touch with him, is just knowing him from around the way kind of thing. And like just then I was like, one day I was like, I know you're into dancing and I know you know how to do all this. I was like, you want to get somebody and you can be in the video. This is the idea. And he was like, yeah, tell me when. And we just showed up. He had everything ready. I had everything ready on my end. We just recorded it, got what we needed to get, and then that was the music video.
Dope. And who's Brett, who I'm assuming is the female?
Yeah, that's his connection. I actually don't know her too well, but she did an amazing job. I was stoked on everything that they did.
The entire project was super cool, man, especially for one of your earlier releases. How'd you scoop up 7 On It Productions as well to do the directing?
I actually just met him from around the way, I think that was just something that, social media is good for that. I think that's how I also met DJ 150 West. I met a lot of people that I know just in the city and doing things, is like you just meet people on social media when you put something out and they like it and you put it around in as many hands as you can, and then people just like see what you're doing, you see what they're doing, and see
where you can overlap.
7 On It. I love that dude, man. Like he's amazing at what he does, and he's evolving quick as well. So I just, what, I'm pretty particular about who I want to work with and how I go about it and everything like that. And I think that those have been wise decisions to me, in my opinion.
I agree, man. It showed a level of quality for sure, from my perspective, at least. Mm-hmm. And then you got a different director for your next video, or going back to I Ain't Shit, you got Dale Andrew, and I don't want to butcher the last name, but it's probably Via Juan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How'd you find that guy?
No, he's 7 On It, man.
Oh, that's 7 On It. It's
he's the owner, actually. He's the owner, so he's the main guy, and I linked up with him just at the right time. That's actually the reason why I started dropping shit as in the way I did. Like that's the thing about that hooligan is, to me, I'm the kind of person that believes in like if it's meant to happen, it's gonna come in front of you. It's gonna become available to you in natural timing, right? So making music, I didn't have the connections to like put things on iTunes and get music videos made, and so I didn't do that. And then when I got those connections, these guys are like, yo, we're ready to do this. I'm like, all right, dude, like let's make like a serious project. And I made that EP, I made a music video, I put out, because the thing is, this is the funny thing, I I actually made Couple Drinks In before I made I Ain't Shit and That Hooligan, but I put it out afterward because That Hooligan was the beginning of the, you know what I mean? You remember what I was saying? Like shit was crazy at a particular point, and like
for sure.
it was like early inspiration went into that, and then it progressed into Couple Drinks In, and then it progresses into Welcome to the Soft Side. Now it's Clear as Ice, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Man, that's wild.
But yeah, what was your question? I actually forgot it now.
Fuck, I don't remember. It was going back to the director, but we'll go.
We'll
go a different direction though for a sec.
Sure.
Pics of Who I Love, just because I feel like it's related to what you were talking about before we took a break and some of the shit that you've gone through. And so I was just curious about elaborating on that, because you did re-release it again on your most recent project, Clear as Ice.
When I wrote that track, that track was really, I didn't even know if I was going to put it out, because I just feel like I don't know if I could really do that subject matter justice. Like there's certain things that I've even written tracks about that I wouldn't even put out because some things are just so heavy that like you can't embody it. Some things are just too big to put in words. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just can't do it proper justice.
So sometimes you try to take on too much in a song and it just doesn't come out in a way that makes sense. But anyway, say it again one more time.
I was just wondering, just to dig into the song a little bit, the inspiration behind it, and
Pics of Who I Love. So yeah, I remember writing that song, and it was you know, like,
well, just because before the break you were talking about seeing a thing get stabbed and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, man. So, you know, like basically, so if you go to Welcome to the Soft Side, there's some tracks on there that, in my opinion, aren't the best songs on the album. But so I think they're less played, but they tell a bit more of the story. You know what I mean? And sometimes things don't come out pretty, and so they don't get listened to as much.
Okay.
But that's the kind of thing, is that when you listen to songs like Down and Baby Johnny and shit like that, like, I think that you get a fuller picture of. So at that time I'm not going to dive into detail about any particular person, because I'm not going to do that to the people who I would be talking about.
Of course.
I had multiple people in my life either end their own life or try to, or overdose, you know what I mean? And that was it was in quick succession. I had several losses and just incidents like that. And it was particularly heavy at the time. It really fucked me up, to be honest.
Yeah. Was this before the angrier times, or like during or after? Sorry, I'm referring to the angrier times. I don't know a better way to put it.
That I feel like I'm in a counseling room right now.
Right?
You know what I mean? I'm like a kid. I'm like a kid in grade 3, and like I've been sent to the counselor's office, man.
Yeah.
Was that like the angrier times?
Was it though?
Nah, I'm fucking with you.
No, it's not good, man.
So, no. I mean, we went through things like that at a young age. I'm actually shocked we didn't lose more people when I was younger, but no, that was particularly written based on things that happened for me. I think must have been, I don't know, 2016 is not right. It must have been 2018, 2019. But yeah, man, it was that was a crazy time. There was a lot of things that had come into it's just, you know, the thing is that basically coming from a particular environment, it's not as if the people who are in your life, they just disappear once you get healthy, right? They keep doing what they're doing. They keep living their life. And then they come back into your life at times. And, you know, you try to let people be around you, and it brings certain influences into your life. And then things happen, and you go through things because of the people you're connected to, right? Sometimes, like, dude, you know, sometimes I just think about it and it trips me out.
For sure, man. That's wild. And then you put it in a track and you get to hear about it too.
Yeah, I wish I could be more specific in like what I'm saying now, and like in the tracks and shit. But I'm the kind of person who I'm not gonna tell in a particular way that's gonna, like, you know, I'm not gonna put somebody's name in a track or anything like that.
Well, on that note, actually, though, Baby Johnny, I was wondering, just because I didn't know your name initially, I was wondering if your name was Johnny, but now I'm curious curious into this track. Since the name is in the title, if it's just like a character or something, or
Yeah, you could say that's an alias, I
an
guess.
alias. Okay, interesting. Because it is, and that's why I initially asked you about the duality and creating like a character in your
Right.
music, but because that's what it sounds like. This is explicitly the song I was deriving that from. So
Yeah.
that's fair. It's a pretty explicit track, man, about detailing certain histories in your life, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the thing about that is that that track is written, you know, that I feel like that track is, just to be clear in regard to you
For sure.
earlier asking if I write everything about my personal life. So that
Yeah.
track is written in a viewer's perspective, and that's something that I've been like that I mean, I grew up in an environment where a lot of me and my peers and the people that I was close to went through really hard shit, man.
For sure.
And I witnessed a lot of things that I think a lot of grown people struggle to come to terms with at a young age, and that makes you grow up fast in your head. And I think that like that's what that story is about. So Baby Johnny is really just about some of my peers and the way that, you know, people, just the way we had to come up and try to like be each other's community and shit like that. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it's, yeah, I mean, that song is very interesting in terms of like the inspiration and the meaning behind it, because it's just like there are layers to it, because you hear
For
the
sure,
story
man.
and it's like a story about Johnny, and like, yeah, he's going through some shit, and like his parents are
Johnny's
fucked
got a
up,
hard
and
fucking
like
life. Yeah.
guess who's not making it easier for him, you know? Everybody.
Yeah.
And then it's like there's also more to that, like why and shit like that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to like get at.
For sure. I think it gets at it really well, especially because of the title of the project as a whole, Welcome to the Soft Side. When you think of it from that perspective, it's easy to kind of see the perspective you're going with for that track. Or easier, I shouldn't say easy, because I still had questions.
Yeah.
But when did you title this project? Was it, did you have the title in mind before you completed all the tracks, or did it
Welcome
come
to the
after?
Soft Side.
Yeah, I know it's the title of one of the tracks, but
Yeah.
so did you base the entire project around that title?
It's not okay. So I'm based the whole concept around like, so basically the way I actually did Welcome to the Soft Side was a storyboard album. So it was the concept, and then I had to come up with the scenes, right? I tried to make that album like a movie, and I wrote it with different inspiration from different points in my life leading up from one point to the next in the story of what was happening and shit. So I took, actually, this is 100% legit. I took a huge, like a fold out cardboard thing, and I like laid out a whole storyboard, and I wrote it like a storyboard.
Yeah.
And then I titled that Welcome to the Soft Side, because the concept of that album is I was going from being that hooligan who was just a reckless fucking character, really.
Yeah.
And then
Angry.
I'm showing you the soft side, like if I could welcome you to this city, you know, like welcome to the rest of it.
To the other side. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Because that hooligan was just pretty rigid. It was like fuck you, this is just how I am. And then Welcome to the Soft Side was like, you know what, I'm gonna let you know a little bit about why I'm a hoodlum.
Is it also kind of welcoming yourself to the soft side?
That's trippy, maybe. Because yeah, maybe, right? Because at that point when I'm writing that, that's after I had made that progression to be like, I got to take care of myself. And, you know, you cut out different unhealthy habits and shit that were really hard. That's a hard transition to go through. It changes you as a character, and then you have a different perspective on what you're writing and why.
Dude, that's trippy. Do you still have that cardboard layout you were talking about, which you wrote the storyboard on?
No, I scrapped it once the album was done.
Did you take any pictures of it, or do you remember it at all?
I did take pictures of it, because that's a big part of how I just make anything. I gotta take photos, because I'm not a very I've got like a problem with reading, and like just reading and all that. That's not the best way for me to remember things. So I take photos and like I align storyboards and shit like that. I don't just write words, right?
Person. Yeah,
exactly. So I took photos, but I don't think I have them anymore. You know, it's like for me, the behind the scenes, once you see the show, I burn it.
I see what you're saying.
It all led up to this this moment, and now it's
Yeah,
done.
and now it's out there, and this is what it is. Well, I'd be willing to bet that because Welcome to the Soft Side is kind of, it's got that 2 points of it's like showing other people, but also coming into it yourself. That it almost like kind of like you're writing it as it's happening, sort of, but you're also writing from the perspective of what's already happened. That maybe some of it is like prophetic, you know?
What does that word mean?
Prophetic, like it's like predicting of the future, or like maybe even some current time, since this is a release from 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Maybe in a way, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I believe in that too, actually, to be honest with you. I'm actually the kind of person that believes in like you have a path in life, and you have a potential. Like,
and you were saying you draw things towards you earlier, so this is like what you're drawing.
Yeah. So at a point you got to write your own prophecy.
Exactly.
Because if that is your destiny, if that's how you want to say it, then you have to put that into action. You have to put that into character. You have to embody that. You have to manifest the character of who you are, your highest potential.
Word.
That's actually some shit that I wrote in the track Slow Down, which is one of my favorite tracks I ever released. And yeah,
you released it before you released the wait, did you release the music video before the project, or what was the timeline there?
Yeah,
there you go.
I released the single. I released Slow Down as a single, as a music video, and then a month after that, I released Welcome to the Soft Side.
Yeah, got you. Just because we're running into overtime here, we'll go into your next project there. But actually, in 2019, doesn't seem like you released very much at all. Is that because you were in preparation for your 2020 release of Clear as Ice?
No, not entirely.
Not entirely?
I mean, the thing is that as an artist, I just make shit. Like, I create things just constantly. I don't know why. I don't know why other people don't. I just do it. I just make
just
things.
a habit.
So it wasn't like I was preparing for Clear as Ice. I had no conscious vision of what I was gonna do next, because like Pics of Who I Love, it embodies the reason why, really, that I just had to get different things together and shit, priority in my life. And like,
I see what you're saying.
I was crafting, but I wasn't focusing on what I was going to put out next. And then that's when I put out Clear as Ice, is after I had, worked on a bunch of things, and I was like, you know what, like, this is the next stage in how things are going, and like put that down in a project. And then I didn't storyboard it like Welcome to the Soft Side. I wrote it in a different way, but I actually like the artistic outcome of Clear as Ice better than I like Welcome to the Soft Side. But Welcome to the Soft Side has some tracks in it that I fucking love.
Interesting, man. But then Clear as Ice took more of like a natural formation, an organic kind of flow through.
Yeah, because when I made Welcome to the Soft Side as well, I was like working with DJ 151, and like that was all dope. We had our setup going, but it was just like we almost had a routine where I was like coming in and just throwing the tracks down. And I feel like a couple of the songs like Down that we were talking about earlier, I could have done a couple things to maybe tweak the outcome of those tracks, but I was just so invested in doing the track and everything like that I think Clear as Ice has better like perfection.
Man. And Clear as Ice is definitely you stepping into your artistry a bit more, and maybe more embodying that soft side. But I don't want to use soft side in the perspective, but that perception that you've kind of abandoned and now come into, if that makes sense. I think I said that really shittily, but anyways, we're popping into overtime here. Is there anything you want to say as you or just as the sign off, and just let off on to anybody who's listening?
Yeah, sure, man. I guess anybody who's listening, I guess, the main point of everything that we're talking about, everything that I'm creating in the music and shit, is just all about the fact that in life, I just have to be myself. Like, you just have to be yourself. Just, if you got to create, just create, do what you love. And, you got to be honest with yourself about who you are and your potential, and just enjoy what you're doing, and do what you can to enjoy as much in your life as you can. And like, that's why I make music. So
perfect.
I think that's how I would wrap it up.
Yeah, awesome, man. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time, BrimLow. I really appreciate it. It's been great.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on, and I really appreciate the way you do what you do, and I'm really stoked to hear this when it comes out.
Yeah, dude, I'll keep you posted. All right, thank you again so much, man. I'll chat with you later.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right,
for sure.
Take care, brother. Peace.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with BrimLow. I know I sure as hell enjoyed doing it. Up next, we've got a track titled Clear by BrimLow. If you want to learn some more about him as well, head on to www.reevolvemedia.com/BrimLow. And here's Clear.
I wanna be different. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do the same shit. That is not why I'm here. I just wanna be me. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do that pop shit. That is not why I'm here. On a vibe that you might never know. What I've been is something secret, bro. Got an album with no features on it, and I'm busting out the speakers, so. And I'm drinking from the bottle with it. Baby, hook me up a sweet pour. I'm just taking what I wanted, then I gotta leave him with the closed door. Then I'm coming back, cut the beat out like a heart attack. I'm just slapping this new shit. They've been saying something wrong with that. Wanna tell them something wrong with them, cause the city's weak and I've been speaking facts. Could've done it like a slaughter track, just to kill him with the cardiac. I just gotta be different. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do the same shit. That is not why I'm here. I just wanna be me. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do that pop shit. That is not why I'm here. Hit the bass, it always bring them back. I got a couple problems I ain't speaking on. How they do it, I was done with that. And if you're different too, then you can sing along. I just wanna be the truest version. I could hold the city till the speakers blow. Made it out with just a couple scars. I was young and dumb, but now I'm solid stone. They told me to go berserk with it. Me, I'm eating my dessert with it. Potato sides with the steak there. Tiramisu with the works in it. I just wanna be different. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do the same shit. That is not why I'm here. I just wanna be me. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do that pop shit. That is not why I'm here. I just gotta be me. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do the same shit. That is not why I'm here. I just wanna be me. I just wanna be clear. I don't wanna do that pop shit. That is not why I'm here.